I just felt, I don't know, I felt like I was so closed off in like what I was doing that it just made me feel claustrophobic and made me, basically I felt like if I lose the friends that I have now or do anything that goes against them, I'm going to end up where I was at the beginning of the year. And I'm at send-off and I see the guy who I had the thing at the beginning of the year with, the quarrel, and I just lose it and I have this really bad panic attack. And at the most public event of the year, and I had, and I just for the longest time just felt really scared to do anything because I was always worried like what's going to make me lose it, what's going to make me turn. Because I feel like there's very much a stigma against people showing their vulnerability like that in public because it's like you can't keep it together, you know, you just can't. I feel like people don't really supposed to show their emotions. So the fact that just, you know, because you try to hold it in and it just comes out, and it's like I had to like find a way to cope with this. I didn't know how to. But then the best thing that could have happened to me happened, and I went off to New York City for a summer. And when I was in New York, I feel like New York was the beginning of me becoming on my own. Because I was put in the city, I didn't really actually know that many people there, and I just really enjoyed. That was when I began to get involved in political activism. It actually was started by a complete accident. I was at this rally for the rights of LGBT homeless in the city, and the energy around it was just so like electrifying. And here are all of these people, you know, speaking up about feeling as isolated, as lonely as I used to feel. And it just really, I don't know, I just feel like that, just because I happened to be in Washington Square Park that one day, at that 1 hour, at that 1 minute, I felt like I had a totally different outlook. And I made a really close friend when I was in New York, she's a very independent person. She's a very much don't give anything what other people want type of person. I feel like that had a really good impact on me, like having that very, you know, like cut and dry just sense of like, nope, don't have time for this. Don't need to care what people think. I can make my own decisions. And I feel like that really kind of rubbed off on me. And then I came back to Kenya and I had a lot of insecurities because I have a lot. Because of my abuse as a child and my insecurities of masculinity, I often can feel, I would often feel very anxious about like sexual or romantic relationships. And I had some experiences when I was a sophomore that really kind of triggered out where I very much felt like because of my past that I was like damaged goods and like there was like just something wrong with my body that just repulsed people. And I also was, there was a lot of drama in the friend circle that I was in at the time that went down, and there was actually a time when I was beginning to be really anxious, and a friend of mine, well, not really a friend anymore, said, "Have you fucking lost your mind?" And this was a person who I thought understood and accepted me for who I was, and yet they're saying the most stigma-inducing, patronizing thing to someone who they know has mental health issues. That just really made me low, and I got to these periods where I would just hide in my room. It was a really cold winter, and I would just hide in my room, and I just would not do anything. And I went home for spring break, and then I came back, and then I found out that Alex, who was my big brother, had just passed away in his sleep one day. Completely random, like he was not sick at all, just basically I was like, what's going on? And he just was dead. And I don't know, in many ways I felt kind of numb to it at the time because it's like so much of my life was going on, yet this happens. But I feel like, and it was just so unfair because it made all the injustice of his life come so full circle, you know, that he just couldn't speak, that he couldn't do anything, that he was so limited and had so many seizures and didn't even live to be past 22. It just was like, what in life is fair? And I had another breakdown, but I really realized, I can't stay rock bottom. I can't be like that. I've got to, come out, and I've got to, basically I came to a point where I realized I cannot cope with feeling the way I feel about myself right now. Something has got to change. I have got to do something different. And then I went off to a place called the University of Exeter. And Exeter was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. It got me out of the Kenyan bubble. It got me away from basically all of my baggage from the past. And I got, it just gave, Exeter's a really cool place. There's so much going on. There's just such a great positive energy to that place. And I became really involved in free groups. Mind Your Head Society, which focuses on mental health, and I did a lot of campaigns for them. I spoke for them a lot. I was really involved in that, and we got a lot accomplished. I'm so proud of that. Amnesty International, which was this human rights organization, we did things like we got in prison jumpsuits in the cage from Guantanamo. We did this huge vigil for the refugees. Just all of this stuff, to just try to get a more just world. And I also, an Animal Welfare Society. And one thing that's always sticking with me is always been my love for animals. And I wanted to be a zoologist up until I realized I wasn't very good at science. But we'll get back to that later. But basically when I was at Exeter, I got united with just some people that really changed my life. They really taught me that yes, you can do something, and that even if things seem futile, you should never give up. You should always do what is right. And we had all of these really great adventures together. That was when I became a lot more open about my mental health and later on my sexuality, because I felt like these are people who just have an open mind, who are willing to understand others as people rather than just as cliches. And really being involved in mental health awareness just really made me realize just how important it is to connect with others and to make a list of, one thing I started doing there, which I do every day since, is I make a list of things worth living for. And I feel like that's just such an important thing, because if you can remember something worth living for, that is a hell of a good place to be in, Something that makes you want to get out of bed, something that can make you smile and can make you feel anything other than crappy. That is such a valuable thing. And people are oftentimes like, no, just don't, that stuff's ridiculous, so it's important. No, if something makes you feel special or makes you feel like there's something to actually like, that's a very valuable thing. And I was going to save this part for the end in my head, but I'm going to go for it now. I say that there are 6 important things to do, and you should try to do each of them every day. Feel. And obviously people feel all the time, but I'm talking about actually be honest with yourself and let yourself be vulnerable. It can be like, I'm so angry, I'm so madly in love with, I'm so annoyed by, I'm so frustrated, I'm so hopeful, I'm so determined. Just have some type of emotion and express it in an honest way. It can be to your friend, it can be to yourself, it can be to your journal, it could be to your stuffed animal, it could be to a piece of grass. Just find something to express a feeling to. The second one is to learn. I find that when we keep learning, we realize that the way that our output can change all the time. And I feel like the times when we feel most depressed is when we feel like it cannot change. Like that what we are is doomed, and that there's nothing, basically nothing that we can ever find out that'll make us feel any better than we do now. I find that, it can be learning about things like mountain gorillas or Roy Kimball or some type of jazz music or something Garfunkel or some like gym out in Hawaii that you just think is so freaking cool, or some event in history, just something that makes you learn. It can also be a more subtle thing, like, there's something you learn about yourself or something you learn about like a friend or just, third one, which I think is really important, is notice. Notice that the people around you, notice that people are really trying to help this world even when it seems like it's falling apart. Notice that there are people that actually do care about things. Notice that everything is unique. Like, even notice things like how complex that chandelier is, or just like how cool the color of Aaron's shirt is, just something that you take time, that you don't just pat right off and like, okay, I will notice this. I feel like I was talking about how animation made me notice things, because you see these guys and you might just think, oh, they just draw silly cartoon characters, but no, they have to think out all of their emotional complexities and figure out how they express them, what they're really feeling, and how they show it. And that's the way people are. People are not two-dimensional. They are just so complex and so dynamic. And people will surprise you. They really will. Like, some of the people who I'm really close friends with now, I would have never thought I would have been friends with. But when you really give them a chance and really open, you just really find out. Share. It can be something. You could be sharing a silly meme on Facebook. It could be telling a funny story to a friend. It could be giving a film or music recommendation to like someone you're interested in. It could even be just like asking someone a question. Just give something that you feel like that you are connecting with someone else, and that you actually can have some common level, because I feel like when we are low, we tend to isolate ourselves. So that's why I think share is a good thing. Now, 5, I'm going to go with love. If you really love someone or something, that's so much worth living for, because I know everyone loves someone, but I feel like to love something all the way. Like, my favorite movie ever, and most of you who know me well know this, is Almost Famous. And the moral of that film, which you definitely should see, is that everyone in the film is connected together because they love music all the way. That doesn't make them perfect. It doesn't mean that rock stars are perfect. It doesn't mean that you should want to go get on drugs and be a groupie just so you can be cool. No, it's about having this genuine love for music that just is such an admirable thing. And I feel like that when we love, like, take the time, like, I'm embarrassed to admit, I've written several love letters over the years, and I actually do not regret it, because I know people would be like, oh, that's so embarrassing. But to actually, like, take time to, like, tell someone why you appreciate them, so special. And number 6 is help. I feel like it's so easy. I feel like when I talk to people think like, it's a young liberal arts school pretentious English major thing, like, I'm gonna change the world. You can change the world in small ways, which leads to changing it in big ways, like, I'm doing this blog right now called Zoophoria, which is basically talking about what people at zoos are doing to help animals at home and abroad. And I feel just like, I don't know how many people are reading it, but I just feel like I'm actually doing something. Because I feel like I feel like that when we help someone else, because so many often people just want to rather be on their phone. But when you actually try to help someone, like, even like, just voluntarily take down their books. So like, how about all